Good morning, everybody. Wait and see if my slides get up there. My name's Alan Todd. I'm the CEO of CorpU, the Corporate University Exchange. And we work with chief learning officers and chief talent development officers in over 10,000 global organizations around the world. And we connect them together to share best practices, conduct research on what works in developing people, developing talent, developing leaders. There's an example of some of the companies that we work with. So our goal is to keep chief learning officers on the cutting edge of practice and get them together to solve complex problems, burning issues that they face. So two big burning issues have cropped up over the last couple years that we've been studying. The first is this mismatch where senior leaders are going to top business schools for executive education. So a lot of the leadership development and leadership teams are going to these top schools, but the middle managers are getting very intermittent development, and the emerging leaders and high potentials tend to get self-paced e-learning. And so there's this big gap in strategy and execution that we have seen and that our members have seen as they translate strategy that starts with the senior leadership team. As they try to drive that through the enterprise and cascade it across, it doesn't translate so well. And then the second big thing that occurred about 4 years ago, and this is probably a good illustration of what we do, our members were having a real difficult time making sense of social media tools and technologies. And so we formed a group called the Social Learning Executive Council, and the mission was to really better understand how organizations apply social media technologies to learning and development, talent development. And so we got together, and over the last 48 months, we've met every month about 50 Fortune 500 chief learning officers from companies like Boeing and Microsoft and Cisco and Johnson & Johnson. And we came up with a definition and a framework for how we think about applying that. And our framework is essentially to help learning organizations connect people together in a business to solve complex problems, generate and spread ideas, teach and learn, and capture and share knowledge. And so that's sort of the framework that we put together for how to think about social learning. And while we did that, we built an open source technology platform, a social collaborative learning platform that allowed our members to do that. And then in particular, we started to apply that to the market that we serve. So the corporate learning market is about a $155 billion market. It's bigger than this slide as new numbers come in. And about $18 billion, closer to $20 billion now, is spent on management and leadership development. But the big problem is in management and leadership development, they've mostly sat out the online revolution over the last 10 years. So we work with business schools like Harvard and MIT and Wharton, Georgia Tech, George Washington University, ESA Business School in Barcelona, Spain. And we work with them to build online programs to serve the executive education market. And it's a very new world for them because this is a world they haven't played in. And so we believe that out of that $18 billion market that has largely ignored online, that about half of that is going to tip over to a digital delivery, mostly driven by just the need for large organizations to drive these executive programs. They've got to drive it all over the world. So I'll give you an example. We're doing a program with Coca-Cola that was a Georgia Tech program. They ran 50 people through a residential program, had a great experience, ran 50 more people through it, and realized that they needed to develop 8,000 middle managers and frontline leaders around the world. And so they brought us in and we developed that program with Georgia Tech. And now it's rolling out all over the world in different languages across Mexico, Spain, South Africa, China. And so we look at the market on how environments, how engaging are they, and what level of management is targeted at that. And we think that there's a real high-end residential executive education market. The Financial Times covers this market really well. Bloomberg Business Week covers this market really well. And our customers and members, as we survey them, they love the residential IV experience, the senior, the top business school experience for top leaders. But we've also done surveys at the self-paced e-learning level, and people say that it's too flat, it's too boring, it's sort of click, 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 quiz, 3 pages in a quiz, and it's not very engaging, and the completion rates aren't so high. And so as we look at this $18 billion leadership market, the $9 billion coming up from zero online executive education market that's sort of exploding right now, we think that's in this top half. And so we've built our whole business sort of anchored around the top business schools, and that's who we work with. And I'll give you an example. in a second. So our solution has three components: a social collaborative learning platform. And so that platform connects people together. We use courses that we develop with business school and academic partners, and we use the course as a lens through which they're going to go work on a business problem at Coca-Cola or MasterCard or Boeing or Telefonica. That's how they use our courses. So it's a collaborative learning platform. Our faculty network are made up of the best faculty in the world from the best universities, and then our methodology is a problem-based learning and a social and collaborative learning methodology. And so the example I would say is this. So here's a program that over the last 30 years, the Harvard program on negotiation, they run it a couple times a year, they sell out every cohort, and they have for 30 years. But it's a pretty limited audience that can make it to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and so we asked the question, why is it popular? Best thinking in the world. You come to Cambridge, it's kind of expensive, you can't scale it out to a large organization, but for the people that go there, they say that they have breakthrough results. They really love the experience. But that residential experience only goes so far, and there are some limitations to what can be done in the classroom. So we sat with Larry Susskind, who created the program and helps build processes to negotiate world peace, and said, how would we rethink this if we were going to an enterprise that really wanted to build capability? What would we do? So we'd start with, we need the world's leading expert on that topic. So in this particular case, it's negotiation. We'd make the content more accessible. So instead of delivering it all in 3 days, could we deliver it over 3 weeks or 5 weeks? Could we deliver it in smaller chunks? Could we give you time to apply it? Could we ask you to watch something and read something? Can we change the sequence? Ask you to engage with the material? Reflect on it. Does it make sense for you? How might you apply it in your organization? Participate in a discussion. If you're a sales team or a leadership team, how might you adopt this in the procurement department at Coca-Cola worldwide? What parts of these theories and methods do you like? Which ones do you reject? And so entertain that discussion and dialogue in an online format with teams all around the world. And so that's what we do, and that's what our solution looks like. And so we've taken the Harvard program on negotiation and built a 5-week course 1, a 5-week course 2. And in the course, we ask you to sort of go through, you can see each of those modules, and the course might ask you to, as you can see, sort of going through watching a lecture, reading a discussion, participating, maybe a particular reading, so that comes from, in this case, Harvard Law. So the content is delivered, you're involved in a discussion, you have live events, and I'm just going to click through to give you the sense. So 3 different courses in this particular example, they're each 5 weeks long, and let's just fill out the whole thing. So somebody said, how would you build this capability if you really wanted to make negotiating capability successful across your enterprise? Well, you do it over time. So there's 3 courses here. Each one takes 5 weeks with 7 weeks of time off in a virtual learning community to just practice and reflect and think about what you've learned. And so it's about building those virtual learning communities. And so we've built these courses with people like Dave Potrick, who teaches the #1 course at Wharton, Leading Bold Transformational Change. So we've built the course with Dave, a Leaders as Teachers course with Ed Betoff, who has the best-selling book, the Wharton program on total leadership. So you either go to Wharton in Philadelphia, like the Harvard program, or the only other place you can get it is from CorpU online. The Happiness Advantage is a program that was the most popular course at Harvard, based on some research out of positive psychology. Happier employees are 10 times more engaged and productive than those that aren't, so they can trigger that. And finally, some of the top leaders. So Mike Barger, who's our Chief Operating Officer. Mike was a fighter pilot and went on and ran the Top Gun school and then left to become, to start up JetBlue and built JetBlue University. So Mike works on developing our courses. Tony ran the worldwide human capital, global sales. He was Senior VP at Oracle, runs our sales. And then Scott Mumma is our CFO, Chief Financial Officer. And Scott and I worked at Knowledge Planet, a company we started that became the largest hosted LMS company in the corporate world. We had about 7 million users in that company. So that's our team. That's our story. Thank you all very much for your time today.